A baby horse stands up within 1 hour of being born. A baby dolphin swims within minutes. A baby giraffe walks within hours. A baby chimp can grip its mother and hold on tight from the very first day of life. And then there is a human baby. Cannot hold their own head up, cannot roll over, cannot feed themselves, cannot do almost anything independently for months, and cannot truly function without full adult support for years. Every other species looks at a human newborn and sees the most helpless creature on the planet. And they would be completely right. But here is what they would be missing. That helplessness is not a flaw. It is the whole point. Here is the thing that changes everything about how you see a newborn. Human babies are not fully born yet when they arrive. Not in any biological sense that is complete. If a human baby followed the same developmental timeline as other primates. If a human pregnancy lasted as long as it needed to for the baby to arrive at a similar level of readiness as a baby chimp or a baby horse. Human pregnancy would last approximately 21 months. Not 9, 21. But human babies arrive at 9 months, which means they arrive roughly 12 months before their nervous system, their motor control, and their basic physical functioning are anywhere near ready for independent life. They are not newborns in the way other species are newborns. They are mid-pregnancy fetuses who have been moved to the outside world to finish developing. And the reason that happened, the reason evolution moved them outside before they were ready, is one of the most extraordinary stories in the history of life on Earth. Look at what other species get in exchange for being born ready. A foal can stand and run within hours because its brain arrived at birth already wired for those functions. The programming was done inside the womb, fixed, set, ready to execute. But fixed means fixed. A foal's brain at birth is already most of what a foal's brain will ever be. The window for experience to shape it, for the environment to write itself into the neural architecture, is narrow and closes fast. The foal gets capability immediately, but it pays for that capability with flexibility. It arrives ready, and it arrives largely finished. The human baby arrives helpless, and it arrives almost entirely unwritten. The first 3 months of a human baby's life outside the womb are not really outside the womb life at all. Pediatrician Harvey Karp described this period as the 4th trimester, and the name is exactly right. During these 3 months, the baby is still completing the development that could not happen inside the body. The nervous system is still organizing. The sensory systems are still calibrating. The brain is still building the basic infrastructure of function that other species are born with already in place. This is why newborns respond so powerfully to the things that surrounded them in the womb. Warmth, containment, the sound of a heartbeat, gentle rhythmic movement, familiar voice. These are not comforts in the way we usually think of comforts. They are developmental signals. Inputs the still finishing nervous system recognizes and needs to complete its work. The 4th trimester baby is not asking to be spoiled. They are asking to finish being born. At birth, the human brain is approximately 25% of its adult size. A chimpanzee is born with a brain that is already 45% of its adult size. Most other mammals are born even closer to their final brain volume. The human brain does most of its growing after birth. By age 1, a human brain has doubled in size. By age 3, it has reached approximately 80% of adult size. And during every single one of those months of rapid growth, the brain is not just getting bigger, it is being shaped. By every face it sees, every voice it hears, every experience of warmth, of safety, of being responded to and cared for and seen. The human brain does not arrive finished and then encounter the world. It arrives unfinished and lets the world help build it. Here is the part that flips the entire story upside down. What looks like the greatest weakness of the human infant is actually the greatest cognitive advantage in all of nature. A brain that is mostly unfinished at birth is a brain that can be shaped by experience in a way that a pre-finished brain never could. Every language a human child hears in their first years gets written into the neural architecture. Every relationship they experience shapes how their stress response system develops. Every environment they grow up in leaves its mark on a brain that is still deciding what kind of world it is living in and what kind of thinker it needs to become. The foal's brain arrived ready for the world it was born into. The human brain arrives ready to learn about whatever world it finds itself in. That is not weakness. That is the most powerful adaptive strategy in the history of intelligence. Now here is where the story gets even more extraordinary. A helpless infant requires something that a capable infant does not. It requires other people, not just a mother, a network. A group of consistently present, cooperating, invested adults willing to share the physical and emotional burden of keeping a completely dependent creature alive for years. And here is what researchers believe. Human helplessness did not just require the village, it created it. The extended period of infant dependency, the years of complete reliance on multiple caregivers, is believed to be one of the driving forces behind the development of human social bonding, cooperation, language, and culture. We needed to communicate to coordinate care. We needed to bond deeply to sustain the commitment of caring for someone else's child. We needed to cooperate to survive the impossible demands of keeping so many helpless infants alive at once. The helpless human baby did not just need civilization, it built it. What does all of this mean for the parent holding a newborn right now? It means that the months you spend responding to this baby, the feeds and the holds and the eye contact and the voice and the warmth, are not just caregiving, they are brain building. Every single response you give this baby is an experience that a still-forming brain is using as building material. The architecture of their intelligence, their emotional regulation, their ability to connect with other people, their capacity to handle stress, their fundamental understanding of whether the world is safe or dangerous. All of it is being built right now. Not from what you teach them, from how you are with them. The helpless baby in your arms is not waiting to become something. They are in the middle of becoming it, and you are the most important part of the process. Here is a question that genuinely divides scientists. Are human babies getting more helpless over generations? Some researchers argue that modern medicine, which allows babies to survive who would not have survived in earlier periods of human history, is gradually shifting what human helplessness looks like across generations. Others argue that the human developmental timeline is so deeply embedded in our biology that no amount of generational change could meaningfully alter it within any time frame that matters. And a third group asks a completely different question, not whether babies are becoming more helpless, but whether modern society is becoming less equipped to handle the helplessness that has always been there. The village that human infant dependency created, we have largely dismantled it, and the baby has not changed. Scientists have a specific term for the uniquely human pattern of being born at an earlier developmental stage than other primates. It is called secondary altriciality. Altricial means born helpless and requiring extensive care. Secondary means that this is not the original state. It evolved as a secondary adaptation in response to a specific biological pressure. And the related term, exterogestation, describes the period of development that in other species happens inside the womb, but in humans happens outside it. The first 9 to 12 months of human life outside the womb are, in developmental terms, still a form of gestation, just on the outside, which means the womb did not end at birth. It just changed location, and the new womb is your arms. Here's what all of this adds up to. Human babies are not helpless despite being the most intelligent species on Earth. They are helpless because of it. The same evolutionary pressure that made human intelligence possible. The rapid expansion of the brain, extended period of neural development, the extraordinary capacity to be shaped by experience, is the exact same pressure that made human helplessness necessary. You cannot have one without the other. The helplessness and the intelligence are not opposites. They are the same thing viewed from two different angles. But if this is true, if helplessness is a feature and not a flaw, if the unfinished brain is actually the most powerful design in nature, then a question follows that changes everything about how you approach the first year of your baby's life. What goes into that unfinished brain right now? What experiences, what relationships, what qualities of daily care are shaping the neural architecture that will become this person's mind? Because if the brain is still being built, and it is, then the building materials matter enormously, and you are the primary source of those materials. Now here is the biology behind all of it. The reason human babies are born so early comes down to a conflict inside the human body that evolution has never fully resolved. On one side, the human brain, the most complex organ in the known universe, growing larger with every generation of human evolution, requiring an increasingly large skull to house it. On the other side, the human pelvis, which cannot grow wider beyond a certain point without making upright walking, one of humanity's most important adaptations, impossible. A larger brain needs a larger head to exit through. A larger head cannot fit through a pelvis narrow enough for walking. Something had to give. Evolution's solution was to birth the baby before the head got too large to exit safely, to essentially complete the final trimester of development outside the body rather than inside it. The human infant is born early, not because the pregnancy is finished, but because the body ran out of room to continue it. This conflict between brain size and birth canal width is called the obstetric dilemma, and it is the biological engine behind every single thing we have talked about today, the helplessness. The fourth trimester, the extended dependency. The unfinished brain that gets shaped by experience. All of it traces back to one impossible equation: big brain, narrow pelvis, early birth. And from that impossible equation, the most extraordinary creature in the history of life on Earth. If this changed the way you see the helpless newborn you are caring for, this channel is exactly where you need to be. We break down the real science of babies every single week. In plain language. No jargon, no judgment. Hit subscribe right now. The practical part is coming next. Here is what the fourth trimester science means for how you care for your newborn right now. First, respond to the cry without hesitation in the first 3 months. During the exterogestation period, a baby who is responded to consistently is a baby whose nervous system is receiving the signal it needs to develop properly. You cannot spoil a newborn. You can only answer or not answer a developmental need. Answer it. Second, provide womb-like conditions during the fourth trimester. Warmth, containment, gentle rhythmic movement. Your heartbeat close to theirs. These are not just soothing techniques. They are the developmental inputs a still-finishing nervous system is calibrated to receive. A baby carrier, skin-to-skin contact, gentle rocking. These are not indulgences. They are biology. Third, understand that your face is building their brain. Every time you look at your newborn and they look back, every moment of eye contact, every expression they see on your face, their visual cortex is developing. Their social brain is forming. Your face is one of the most important developmental tools your baby has access to. Use it deliberately. Look at them. Let them look back. That exchange is construction. You are not caring for a helpless baby. You are completing the most critical phase of the most sophisticated brain development process in all of nature. The months you spend responding to this newborn, the exhausting, relentless, beautiful months of the fourth trimester, are not a holding pattern until real development begins. They are the development. You are not waiting for your baby to become something. You are the environment inside which they are becoming it right now. The most helpless creature ever born on this planet could not walk, could not talk, could not feed itself or regulate its own temperature or survive a single night alone. And that creature became the species that painted cave walls and built cathedrals, that invented language and music and mathematics, that looked up at the night sky and built machines to go there. Every one of those achievements traces back to the same source, a brain that arrived unfinished, that needed years of warmth and care and relationship to complete itself, that was shaped by experience in ways no other brain in the history of life ever was. The helplessness was not the obstacle to human greatness, it was the beginning of it. And the baby in your arms right now, the one who cannot hold their own head up, who cannot do anything without you, who needs you completely and without reservation, they are not at the bottom of the story. They are at the very start of it. If this gave you something real today, a new way of seeing the extraordinary creature in your arms, share it with someone who needs to feel this wonder. And subscribe. Because your baby's story is just beginning, and every chapter of it deserves to be